27th, 2016. I'm Sandra Smith. The records that could prove pay-to-play took place between the State Department and the Clinton Foundation, now delayed until after the election. As one Clinton supporter admits, that foundation isn't what it seems.
There is a real creepy vibe to me personally at the Clinton Global Initiative. There's this kind of creepy theater that happens, creating this theater of doing good, but it's all about something else. It really feels gross.
An insider on what's really going on behind closed doors.
Then Donald Trump may be softening his stance on immigration. What that might mean for the big, beautiful wall and his most loyal base.
And do you know how to pronounce this?
Croissant.
Is it a croissant? Is it croissant? Not the only word you've been saying wrong your entire life. We're going to show you the 10 words that Americans cannot pronounce. Fox and Friends begins right now. It's amazing on this show.
Yeah.
You guys, it's always, you never know what you're going to see, but this morning Cracker Barrel has set up an old country store out on our plaza this morning.
I love it.
I showed up and they had rocking chairs.
I walked outside and it's a bona fide Cracker Barrel out on the plaza.
In Operation Homefront, so we're going to be talking about that a little bit later this morning.
An amazing cause.
It really looks just like inside the restaurant.
And can you name a better breakfast anywhere?
No, I'm a northerner, so I don't have as much interaction with Cracker Barrel, but every breakfast I have on the road, Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. You got to stop.
Biscuits,
you know what you're going to get.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, good morning. Nice to see you.
Good to see all
we
of
have
you.
Pete Hegseth sitting in this morning for Tucker and Sandra. Nice to see you.
Clay,
Compete after Election Day. And Garrett Tenney is in Washington, D.C. with more on this. Seemingly timely development. Garrett?
Pete, Sandra, and Clay. Good morning. That's right. This could be great news for the Clinton campaign. Just this during your term is inaugurated. Back in January, after the AP filed a lawsuit against the State Department, a U.S. district judge ordered the State Department to begin releasing batches of Clinton's detailed daily schedules. It didn't know. Attorneys told the Associated Press there are about 2,700 pages left, meaning under the current schedule, we can expect to see those around December 30th. Now, it is possible that the judge could order State to speed things up, which is something the AP's lawyers have formally requested. They're asking for everything to be released by October 15th, but as of right now, there are no indications that that will happen. Sandra, Pete, and Clayton?
All right, Garrett.
Thank you.
Why this is so important, obviously, is because of what the AP was already able to uncover in some of the calendars that they had access to, and who was able to buy access, who was able to get in to meet with Hillary Clinton while she was Secretary of State, who also had donated money to the Clinton Foundation.
Well, and that AP report revealing that more than half the people outside the government who met or spoke with her by telephone while she was Secretary.
or GE up there with President Clinton, and they're just bathing each other in love over how generous and wonderful they are. It just feels like the worst version of an elite selling access to the aspirational, creating this theater of doing good, but it's all about something else. It really feels gross.
Ouch. And the best part about this, you listen to the whole clip. It really feels gross, creepy.
You know what I think stood out to me was the charity work they talk about. And it's really not been effective. So when people are wondering, well, what are you donating money for? Where is all this money going? He highlights Haiti as one area where they did some good work, but he said it's such a small, narrow. Donald Trump's doctor, remember back in December, he released this kind of funny letter, had a bunch of typos and some grammar questions, and it was saying that Donald Trump, there he is, there's the doctor, gastroenterologist, saying he's going to be a human being to ever sit in the White House. That was the letter.
So they've launched an investigation, and then vice versa. Donald Trump has gone after Hillary Clinton and her health, and has said that she's lacking stamina to be the president. So.
Well, now this letter's come back into the fray over the past week that he wrote and released back in December.
Now, order to Donald Trump's health, and they're covering the fact that a limousine came to pick up the letter and deliver it.
Donald Trump waited outside his office, and NBC's treating this as like breaking news.
This is breaking news in light of the fact that we do have new revelations or new speculation about Hillary Clinton.
So they get this sit down, this exclusive with Donald Trump's doctor. You have to listen to this.
His health is excellent, particularly his mental health. He would be fit because I think that his brain is turned on 24 hours a day.
So if you read the headlines from NBC News, it's, Trump's doctor wrote this letter in 5 minutes, and it was delivered to Donald Trump in a limo waiting outside.
And another part of the way they dissected the doctor is that he uses Windows XP. And I don't know, you know a lot more about operating systems than I do, but apparently that's outdated. And so he's an outdated doctor because he uses Windows XP on his computer.
Wow, that says so much.
Yeah. Oh, look, my parents, I think my parents still use Windows XP on their old Windows.
Up on a lot of the systems inside our bodies, right, to understand them?
Right, exactly. So we need to know that what operating system he's using. I guess
5 minutes. They should have taken 15. All right. Let us know what you think about all this, by the way. You can log on to the Facebook page, Twitter, send us your thoughts. A lot going on. Now to your headlines this morning. We begin with a Fox News alert. A man is under the brutal murders of 2 Catholic nuns. Police say 46-year-old Rodney Sanders viciously stabbed Sister Margaret Held and Sister Paula Merrill in their Mississippi home before stealing their car. He faces 2 counts of capital murder. The women had worked as nurse practitioners at a clinic for the poor for the past 30 years. A wake for the sisters will be held tomorrow, followed by a memorial mass on Monday. Tragedy surrounding the family of one of the NBA's biggest stars this morning. The cousin, Dwayne Wade, shot and killed in Chicago while pushing a baby stroller. Nikia Aldridge caught in the crossfire outside an elementary school by two men who were targeting someone else. So far, no suspects are in custody. The baby in the stroller was not hurt. Wade tweeting, "My cousin was killed today in Chicago. Another act of senseless gun violence. 4 kids lost their mom for no reason. Unreal. Hashtag enough is enough." It looks like we've achieved clarity with Russia on Syria, sort of. Secretary of State John Kerry says he and his Russian counterpart have finally agreed on steps to reinstate a ceasefire, but they still have a lot of details to work out. Kerry has warned that a political solution is the only thing that can end Syria's 5-year civil
Good, we have
war.
clarity. Good.
Pete Hegseth shaking his head on that one. All right, here's an example of how not to handle an animal running into a highway. A woman bringing traffic to a halt. She's in the middle of a busy Houston toll road, trying to chase down the stray cat while completely oblivious to the danger around her. Toll workers eventually stepping in to help capture the kitty.
The name of that woman.
Wow.
Janice Dean. She's such, I mean,
She would go to
she's
great
an
lengths
animal
to save
lover.
a cat.
She would go out there and save cats in the middle of a Houston highway.
Oh,
Hey,
of
Janice.
course I would. But for now, I am lounging in one of these wonderful Cracker Barrel, beautiful chaise lounges here. This is an amazing set today. We have everything. We have comfort food from Cracker Barrel. We have live entertainment from our band Cam. We have the whole crew here that is set up. I mean, this is quite the setup. You have to come down and see us if you're at 48th and 6th. All right, everyone has to come down and see this. It's amazing. We're going to be eating, we're going to be drinking, we're going to be dancing, and we're going to be doing some weather. So let's take a look at it. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood right here in New York City. 73 degrees, a nice little breeze here as the sun comes up. 68 in Chicago, 64 in Minneapolis. A much cooler air mass across the Great Lakes in the upper Midwest. We are looking for the chance of some severe storms across the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest today. Maybe some large hail, some damaging winds. We had a tornado outbreak this past week, so we're going to be watching that very carefully. And we are also watching the tropics. I'm sure you've heard about this low pressure system we are watching right now. Not really get into great news, and I'm just gonna sit back here and relax at the Cracker Barrel
news.
Can
set.
we get you
Look
something?
at Janice.
Can we get you a little something?
I've never been more relaxed in my life.
Thanks, Janice.
Enjoy.
But look at that. That looks like she is at a Cracker Barrel.
Seriously, it's the whole store they've done out here. All right, coming up here on the show this week, it sure sounded like Donald Trump might be softening his stance on immigration. Is he making a mistake that could cost him some of his diehard supporters? Is he starting to sound more like Obama's immigration policy? What are the polls saying this morning? We'll get to that next.
And teenagers, what happens when your dad finds out you had a boy in the car? And it's against the rules.
No citizenship.
No citizenship. I mean, go a step further. They'll pay back taxes. They have to.
That his stance slightly now saying we need to work with illegal immigrants. But what will his base say after promising he would humanely ship them out? Joining me now, Director of Polling at the Cato Institute, Emily Eakins. Where does he stand on this issue? Emily, good morning.
Well, we are seeing him soften, as he said, his position.
That was his word, yes.
Yes, on illegal immigration by saying he no longer supports the mass deportation of illegal immigrants in this country, which he said last year and got him a lot of support among many of his core supporters, including, Ann Coulter. For instance, right now, I think this is a big risk that he's taking because statistical models of public opinion polling data show that
Why? Why did he make that move this week, so close to the election?
So I've been thinking a lot about this, and I've been looking through the polling data, and I actually think this strategy might be brilliant.
But then you just said he took this huge risk. But
let me explain. Okay, here's why. So if you look at his core set of supporters, now it's true, they care a lot more about mass deportation of illegal immigrants than even regular Republicans who didn't vote for Trump in the primaries, let alone, regular American voters, who largely favor legal status for illegal immigrants. So what do they really care about? It's not just mass deportation. They care a lot about the wall along the border with Mexico. I think we do. We have the poll for that. Building a wall along the border among Trump supporters. 79% favor building that wall, just 18% oppose it. Yes. One Trump supporter even put it like this. She said, look, as long as we build the wall, that's the most important thing.
And every time he talks about his stance on deportations, he reiterates, we're building that wall.
Yeah,
that
a
is
big,
still the
beautiful
plan.
wall. Yeah.
So let's talk about where he stands and where all the candidates stands as far as Latino voter preference. Right now, you're looking at Clinton with 59% of the preference. Trump just 17%. So close to the election, Trump looks like he still has a lot of work to do. Can he turn these numbers around?
Well, did you notice how third-party candidate Gary Johnson has almost the same amount of support as Donald Trump among Hispanic voters, which is pretty amazing given that he's a third-party candidate rather than a major party candidate. Donald Trump is doing very poorly among Hispanics. His favorability ratings are dismal and declining. I think the latest poll had him at 15% favorable. So I think this latest move to, quote, soften on immigration is he's not really going to pick up many Hispanic voters. That's not even his goal. I think his goal is really to try to pick up those suburban, white, college-educated voters who largely favor legal status, and he's been having a lot of trouble really securing their support this cycle.
Hillary Clinton and the Democrats really seem to be seizing on his softening stance and making it look more like a flip-flop. But thank you for clearing up exactly what that was this morning. Emily Ekins, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Good to have you. All right, Black Lives Matter, not really known as a peaceful movement, but is that movement just misunderstood? It depends on who you ask. The debate is next. Hillary Clinton celebrates National Dog Day by tweeting a picture.
A quick look at headlines. The Phoenix VA will soon have its sixth boss in less than 3 years. The embattled Veterans Clinic has been trying to rebuild after a series of whistleblowers have come forward exposing deadly wait times. Well, conditions have not improved under the current boss, Deborah Amder, who's stepping down after just 8 months. And a roller coaster nearly toppling over as 6 terrified children are still strapped and trapped inside. More than a dozen fairgoers rushing to the scene to hold the ride up. Wow. A track malfunction is being blamed for the accident at the Georgia Fair. The ride has been torn down. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Sandra Clayton.
All right. Thank you very much. A bombshell report shows 85 of 154 people who were able to meet with Hillary Clinton while she was the Secretary of State had donated big sums of money to her family charity.
Yet the fact wasn't widely covered, and our next guest hit college campuses to ask students if it were Donald Trump's foundation under fire, Trump University or something other than that, would the media coverage be any different? Listen.
If the roles were reversed and if it was the Trump Foundation and that there were all these kind of shady dealings going on, that everyone would know about it?
Absolutely. I think
absolutely.
If the roles were reversed, they would be making a bigger deal out of, the Trump Foundation receiving money than they did the Clinton Foundation. I feel like a lot of that was kind of swept under the rug.
Do you think he kind of has a point that there may be some unfair media coverage?
Yeah, I think he's obviously got a point.
Cabot Phillips is a contributor at campusreform.org, and he joins us now. Cabot, nice to see you this morning.
Good morning.
I think you're right about this, and it seemed like the students didn't disagree with you. If you read the New York Times or front pages of anything, they're constantly talking about Trump's dealings, tax dealings, and casino.
They know, they can see, they're not stupid. They can pick up on the fact when the media, and the mainstream media especially, is not giving them a fair shakedown of things. And for all the left's talk of privilege, we've got white privilege, male privilege, straight privilege. I think we should have a new one called Hillary privilege, where we talk about the fact that Hillary gets preferential treatment, especially when it comes to the way the media is covering her. And these young people saw that, and they knew if the roles were reversed, it would be a completely different national conversation.
It can be frustrating because I know many of them do feel like they're being told who to vote for. So Donald Trump still struggles to get their vote. What could he do to win them over, especially those that are still undecided at this
You touched on a completely true point with young people. With Leadership Institute, I'm always on campuses talking to young people, and they're always saying, we don't like the man telling us who to support, kind of forcing their opinions on us, and that's what's happening here. I think if Donald Trump wants to gain the support of young people, he needs to do what he did this week, and that's talk about policies. Even though the immigration issue was kind of a flip-flop, at least for once, a whole week was spent talking about Donald Trump's position on an important policy.
Do they feel disenfranchised, these students? I mean, after all, most of them Bernie supporters, right? Bernie had the young vote. And are they just saying, look, I'm just not going to vote for Hillary at all. I'm not going to vote for Trump. I'm just going to sleep in that morning in my dorm room.
I think they may feel that way now. It may feel good for them to feel rebellious and say, I'm not going to vote at all. But when it comes down to it, these young people, sure, it's nice to see the banter. They enjoy, it's entertaining to see all the back and forth, but none of that's going to get them a job. They want to get a job, and they want ultimately to hear about serious policies that are going to help them in their careers. So that's why I think there is a window for Donald Trump to come in if he's going to be serious and put substantive issues forward.
I mean, let me go back to what was a huge week in that piece. The New York Times media critic wrote that journalists who personally opposed Trump had an obligation to throw out the textbook when it came to coverage of him. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's being thrown in their face right now.
Absolutely. And the way that Hillary treats the media, you know, she puts the reporters in pens during her events. She hasn't held a press conference in 266 days. You'd think the media would be upset with her, but no, they turn around and they basically
But who largely are they voting for?
Exactly. They do her job for her, which is just astounding to see the way they treat her.
Cabot Phillips, great to see you this morning.
Great to be on.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, coming up here on the show, President Obama gets sued by an illegal immigrant apparently unhappy with the conditions on the border.
Then, remember when somebody at the State Department edited a Fox News question out of the official video? Well, this morning, that scandal just got even bigger. Details next.
And while you were sleeping, Cracker Barrel built a whole store right here on our plaza on 48th Street. And believe it or not, they could be coming to your house next.
Janice is in
the doghouse again. Maybe.
Well,
the dogs
are beautiful.
Dogs are beautiful, yeah. All right. Well, earlier in the show, we talked about certain words that Americans can't pronounce, like this, whatever this is. Is this a croissant, a croissant? There's a new study out this morning, and it has a list of a number of words that Americans cannot pronounce. So this is a little scary because you're going to put us to the test.
You guys were talking a lot of smack about what you can and cannot pronounce. So we're going to put you to the test right now.
I will not fail at anything.
High-speed producers put together
we really didn't know this was going on.
So play along at home if you want. And Sandra was doing some smack talk, saying she's an excellent speller.
Amazing.
That's why she's going to crush
you.
it.
Want a spelling bee.
I want a spelling bee,
so
but I think that was third grade.
Between the two of you right now.
Okay, what is this word?
Hyperbole.
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 Is it hyperbole?
You're right. Hyperbole.
Was that supposed
that's
to be
correct.
difficult? Okay,
no, that's
continue.
correct. All right.
Mischievous.
Mischievous.
Wow. Clayton, you're incorrect. It's mischievous.
Thank you.
Wow, Sandra.
I often hear people
contour.
Yes, thank you.
She really is living up to it right now. How about this one?
Sherbet.
Sherbet.
No. No.
It's sherbet.
Sherbet.
Yes.
No, she's really bringing her A game right now.
I grew up eating sherbet.
Sandra, I would
Rainbow
say sherbet.
sherbet.
I would say sherbet. Okay. In fact, what do you got here?
Espresso.
Espresso.
I would say espresso.
No.
Espresso.
But it is espresso.
Okay.
Espresso. All right. So that's what Americans. But see, that's how Americans pronounce
says
it.
I drink espresso every morning.
Of course.
So that's why it's wrong. Okay.
Come on, right here.
Cash. Everybody says cash aid. It's cash.
Cash.
I call it a weapons cache, which is what we used to get in Iraq when we were
Cache
captured.
would have an accent aigu en français.
I don't know what
what is going on here?
What is a goo? Erica, know what a goo is? Email friends at foxnews.com if you know what a goo is. Cash, you're correct.
Thank you.
Sandra, clearly unbelievable. What do we got here?
All right, that's niche.
Niche.
I would say niche or niche.
Oh,
what is that? Is that
yes,
niche?
take that, Smith.
Oh, Smith
that,
down
Smith.
one. That one goes to Mr. Morris.
Oh, I like this word, lambast. Right. Lambast. It's one of my favorite words.
What do you got?
I agree.
I hope that's I'm saying it properly.
Lamb-based?
Oh, no, that's what I had last.
Location.
Worcester.
That's
Worcester,
actually,
Massachusetts. Is that right?
No, I actually practiced with this one recently because I always have a hard time with it.
No, it's Worcestershire.
Oh, wait a second.
It's like Worcestershire.
Well, that was a tricky one because we didn't know if it was the sauce or the town.
This is what I'm here to do, is to play tricky.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. Okay. All right, Miss Sandra.
Croissant.
Croissant?
Yeah, en français.
Croissant.
Croissant.
This one is important.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. You're
How
right.
else do people say it? Croissant. I guess they pronounce the T. Yeah.
Croissant. See, I think if you say it that way in America, you'll get punched in the kneecap. You're a Starbucks, I'd have a coffee and a croissant. Get out of here.
The last one is very important, though. How does one pronounce...
That's awesome.
Come on.
Seriously.
Come on.
Well, I think most Americans would say Sandra, or I would say that from Philly, but is it Sandra?
No.
How do you say
it? It is Sandra.
Sandra?
Very
okay,
good.
Sandra says Sandra, but it is...
No. Stop. Sandra spelled with
So
an
you've been
O.
saying your own name wrong for so long.
We're so privileged to be here with Sandra Smith all morning.
Sandra. Hey, Janice, have you met Sandra?
Janice.
Oh, hello. Sandra is eating croissants at the Cracker Barrel store today.
Yes, she is.
I love the phonetic. Who did the beautiful cards with the phonetics at the back?
Croissant and espresso,
I made them.
please.
I was printing them at 4 o'clock this morning, Sandra.
That's what I figured. Sandra.
I thought it was John. It's actually Juan who was printing them out on me.
Oh my gosh. Are you guys going to come out and enjoy this set with me?
ma'am.
I feel like, and look at this, I've got my rocking chair. I'm getting all set for someday enjoying the sunset. On the set here on Fox and Friends Weekend, and we're going to play some checkers. We've got, home cooked meals here. We've got mac and cheese and meatloaf. I know that, but this set is amazing. Spectacular. Thank you to the crew to put this together. Let's look at the weather, because here New York City, it is a gorgeous day. 73 is the daytime high right now. Satellite radar imagery, you're going to against slaves across this region with a slight risk here, especially for the Chicago area later on this afternoon and tonight, okay? Also watching this area of low pressure. I know you've heard a lot of people talking about this. It is the tropics, and we are getting into peak season for hurricanes. We're going to be watching this very carefully, even though it's not even a named system yet, as it creeps into the Mexico forward.
Our teacher just tweeted me. Way to nail the accent aigu, Sandra. The French teacher was proud.
Very nice.
I'll move on.
Tout le monde connaît Sandra Smith.
Hey, French teacher, stop kissing up.
Okay. She nailed the accent aigu, but not Sandra.
Yeah, I could get her name.
We've got to get to headlines. All right. New harrowing accounts are surfacing of Kayla Mueller's time as an ISIS hostage. Other former hostages now coming forward, saying the American service worker was tortured, verbally abused, and raped. But despite the horrors, a Danish freelance photographer says she defended her Christian faith even to executioner Jihadi John.
One of the Beatles started to say, something, oh, this is Kayla, and she's been held all by herself, and she's much stronger than you guys, and she's much smarter. She converted into Islam. And then she was like, no, I didn't.
Mueller was held captive by ISIS operatives for more than a year and a half before it's believed she was killed. The Obama administration under fire by an immigrant. An Honduran woman filing a lawsuit claiming her and her 7-year-old child were mistreated while being held in a family detention center for more than 4 months. Sonny Rodriguez Alvarado says they feared for their lives in Honduras, only to arrive in the U.S., be separated from the boy's father, and held in harsh conditions in facilities in Texas. She claims they were denied food and even medication for their young boy. Well, questions still lingering over how a crucial 8 minutes of a video from a State Department briefing was was edited and deleted. This even as we learned the department actually conducted not one but 2 probes into the cover-up of secret talks between the U.S. and Iran. Details of this second investigation, led by its top internal auditor, coming just a week after the department announced they couldn't determine if that portion of the tape was deleted on purpose. And those are your headlines on this Saturday morning. I'm going to toss it outside to Clayton and Pete. What's going on out there?
Sandra.
And Janice
Thanks,
Dean.
Sandra. Cracker Barrel is here all morning long, and when we heard they were coming, we asked them to bring some of their delicious home-style foods.
Oh, exactly. And here with a sampling of what they have to offer at their stores all over the country, Pam Smith, culinary nutritionist with Cracker Barrel Old Country Store. Pam, thanks for having us.
It's
nice
great to have you. Welcome to Cracker Barrel.
Love the Cracker Barrel here in Manhattan. Tell us what you got for us this morning.
Well, you know, we've got a taste of home. We're here to celebrate Operation Homefront, and we're here to really take Rockefeller Center by storm, as we've talked about at Rockefeller. But we've got to have the food. Just as you said, when people think of Cracker Barrel, they think of the delicious food, the authentic Southern ingredients. But it starts even before you go in. It starts at the porch. Okay. Good. Got to put a fork in it. That's what. Janice, I'm glad you were able to join too. That's awesome. When the food is there.
Are you kidding me?
I thought you were hospitality. When you come in, you feel like you're at Mama's house. You feel like it's been done. Exactly. We've got everything from, of course, those biscuits
Your
and
biscuits
corn
are amazing.
muffins.
Anytime my kids go there, they want, can we get another basket of biscuits?
Hand rolled, hand cut.
But a lot of it's your family style too, right?
Not necessarily. The biscuits and the corn muffins, you get so delicious. As a matter of fact, we've got some if you all would like to taste it. Janice,
Janice.
dig in. That's all this time. I know you're just looking at the mac and cheese. I know.
Meatloaf for
Janice
breakfast.
Just block that off. Yeah, the Old Country Store, you come in, of course, you got all the Old Country Store while you get ready for a table.
Yeah,
And you come in.
playing the peg game.
And I know that the kids love playing the peg game. And the rocking chairs also, and sitting over and going and play a little checkers.
Exactly.
What are we going to be talking about next?
Enjoy some good food along the way.
It's an amazing initiative to help military families and folks at home with Operation Homefront and Cracker Barrel. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And don't forget, anytime you're going in, you're taking a look at that rocker, but some of those rockers are on those military families' porches.
It's wonderful. They love crackers. We're going to find out next hour how to check on that.
In the meantime, we're going to eat.
That's right.
Absolutely eat and enjoy.
Back
Service
into
with a
you.
smile.
I have never seen Pete deny any food that's in front of him, that's for sure. All right, Black Lives Matter, not really known as a peaceful movement, but is that movement just... Is it just plain misunderstood? Depends on who you ask. We will have the debate next.
Hi, my name is Tom. I'm Raph.
My name is Ann.
Real life.
On education, listen.
Racism is alive and well. I think it's not only about crime or police, but it's really around our experiences in this country and whether or not we're having the same opportunities.
So is this education or indoctrination? Let's debate. Joining us now is political commentator Lisa Durden. Also joining us, author and former Berkeley Black militant student Mason Weaver. So Mason, let me start with you. Is this movement just misunderstood?
The thing they talk about is basically saying that black people are inferior to white people, and every problem white people have black people have requires white people to do something. Education. If Black Lives Matter really concern themselves with black people, they'll be protesting black liberal-controlled schools that are turning out uneducated, unmotivated black people. It is simply a design to gather more support for their control over black people.
Lisa, is it a design to gather more support for this?
Well, 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 I'm back again a short week later, reiterating what I said last week. I admitted to you and told you last week on Fox and Friends that Black Lives Matter is a new organization, just like the NAACP was 50 years ago, and they were laser focused back then on voter registration. But of course, the NAACP grew out of that into bigger things and bigger issues. Well, Black Lives Matter is doing the same thing. So now we see that their laser focus of obviously protesting against police brutality is growing into more like education for African Americans and based on equality. Now, last week, my back got kicked in. So this week, you guys have been proven wrong. They've been misunderstood.
Ready for G here? What about Lisa's point that Black Lives Matter movement is really like a chrysalis, and all of a sudden, shedding that apology next week, Lisa. Thank you. Coming up here on the show, do you buy things like coffee and detergent on Amazon with that subscription service? Well, you could be paying twice as much with that subscription. Kurt, the cyber guy, is going to show you how to...
Well, major savings on staple household items sounds like a dream come true. But it turns out Amazon's Subscribe and Save program may be costing you more than it's worth. So what can you do to ensure you won't fall victim to wild price hikes? Here to break it down, of course, is our own Kurt, the cyber guy. Kurt, what do we know about Amazon's this service?
Good morning to you. You know, we all think we're saving money when we go online, and we're really smart about shopping. And then you think you got the best price on Amazon, and then suddenly they say to you, hey, well, if you just buy this on a regular basis, if you sign up and subscribe to get this on a frequent basis, we'll drop the price 5%, even 15% if you have 5 or more items.
Subscribe and Save, and many things we buy, we lock it in at a price,
right? And it may, for example, on this Folgers coffee, it may say that it was $6.64 in June when we went shopping.
When I bought it. Yep.
Right, for one of them. But if we signed up, it would be less, right?
Of course.
Well, here is the only issue that's going on. So this morning, what we're talking about is that in the fine print at Amazon, they don't tell you when you're signing up that those prices fluctuate. Those can just end up being...
So they won't necessarily go down.
It isn't the price that you signed up for. So what happens when we do this and we go shopping again in August? Price changes, $12.50 for the same
That better
unit.
be gold in that canister.
How about these napkins?
Yeah.
Let's test out these Vanity Fair napkins. Price then... Go shopping again.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
21, 40.
How does it go up threefold?
Because they'll talk about their strategy is that it's about demand. It's about supply and demand. How about the Gatorade?
Overwhelming demand for napkins? Okay, Gatorade, which I have a lot of in my home with young kids. Okay.
Right.
$9.32. What's next on this price?
Look at the Gatorade here. Okay, we went shopping in June, $9.32, right?
Yeah.
Now you go shopping again. Oh my goodness, 31.
No, there's not enough Gatorade in those bottles to justify 31 bucks.
These are wild prices. The Tide Pods right here, originally It's 1979. New price. If you signed up to save, you're suddenly paying $34.49.
Do you know that you're paying more? Or is it automatic? Or
it just suddenly hits you, and you're like, wait a minute.
Are these all going up? Are these every single one of these prices going up at this point?
Funny you should mention that, because right now we're a big loser here with shopping with the subscribe and save until you get to this one. Original price for this bulk of macaroni and cheese, $39.11.
Oh, you know what?
But it did go down. You will see savings in some things. Total, how much did you add up?
I did the math quick in my head. $33 up a month.
You were paying more than $33.08.
Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, August 27th, 2016. I'm Sandra Smith. And the guys are already making me crack up this morning. All right, they are the records that could prove that Hillary Clinton allowed pay-to-play at the State Department. But guess what? You won't see them until after the election. What are they hiding? All right.
Plus, Tim Kaine says Donald Trump is a racist, and he's got proof.
He has supporters like David Duke, connected with the Ku Klux Klan, who are going around and saying Donald Trump is their candidate because Donald Trump is pushing their values.
Well, that's Mr. Kaine. So how is he going to react when he finds out, well, one of those supporters just endorsed his candidate, Hillary Clinton?
And are you sick of slow drivers blocking the fast lane? Always. Yes. Well, never again, because the government has a plan.
Oh, thank goodness.
A new regulation on gas pedals. That's great. Fox and Friends Hour 2 starts right now. I'm just marveling at the University of Pittsburgh apparel inside
Pittsburgh gear.
Well, I mean, it's gratuitous because that's where I went to school. University of Pittsburgh at the Cracker Barrel Country Store. Whoa, look at that.
Did you really? You're a Pitt grad?
I'm a Pitt grad, and you know what? They just changed their logo back to the original, like the 1970s style.
Yeah.
And if you go into a Cracker Barrel, that's the great thing about Cracker Barrel locally. When you go in, they've got like local stuff in your local town.
But not every local Cracker Barrel will have Janice Dean sampling every item.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Vanna Whiting everything. They are here this morning. Cracker Barrel, they built an entire store outside, and they're going to be talking about Operation Homefront, which helps our heroes all across this country. We'll tell you about that a little bit later.
You forget for a second when you stand outside on the plaza that you're standing in the middle of New York City.
Right, there's no roof, but there's rocking chairs.
Delicious. Indeed. I love it.
All right, well, we have a lot to get to this morning. The State Department coming to Hillary Clinton's rescue once again. Now claiming it won't complete the court-ordered release of her schedule until after Election Day.
That's right, Sandra. Garrett Tenney is in Washington, D.C. with more on this seemingly timely development. It's kind of interesting. Good morning, Garrett.
Hey, good morning, y'all. This all goes back to those allegations of a pay-to-play culture during Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State. So far, the State Department has released about half of Clinton's daily minute-by-minute schedules from her term. And earlier this week, when the Associated Press analyzed those documents, it found that more than half of the people Clinton met or spoke with outside the government had given money to the Clinton Foundation, a total of $156 million. Clinton has since said the AP's analysis is flawed and that she met with people regardless of whether they gave money to her family's charity. As of right now, though, we won't know the details of the second half of Clinton's term at the State Department until after the election. In January, after the AP filed a lawsuit against the State Department, a U.S. district judge ordered the State Department to begin releasing batches of Clinton's detailed daily schedules from her time as Secretary of State. And at the time, the order was for the State Department to release 600 pages a month, simply because the department said it didn't know how many pages were left. Yesterday, the State Department's attorneys told the Associated Press there are about 2,700 pages left, meaning under the current schedule, we can expect to see those around December 30th. The AP has formally requested that process be sped up so that voters can have the information prior to the election. Previously, U.S. District Judge Richard Leon has expressed his own frustration over the State Department seeming to try and run out the clock on releasing documents related to Hillary Clinton. At this point, though, it's unclear if he will step in with a court order. Pete? Clayton and Sandra.
Sandra, you got it.
You've been watching this morning. Very good.
It's actually not Garrett, it's Garrett.
Garrett.
Thanks, Garrett. All right, so what are they trying to hide? And this idea that, December 30th, we're going to wait until after the election to get access to these calendars. Why are these calendars so important? Because as the AP has already shown us, the Associated Press has already shown us, to Garrett's point, they've already, with half of the calendars released, show that people were able to get access to Hillary Clinton at the State Department after donating money.
With half of the calendar released, half of those who were not on the official calendar were donors to the Clinton Foundation,
right,
which we learned only through these AP reports. And they're simply saying, hey, get it out before the election. It's not an impossible thing to do.
But believe it or not, and people keep asking that, how come Republicans can't make a stronger case against Hillary Clinton, considering the evidence that they have? Well, Charles Krauthammer actually said on a special report last night, we're focusing on the wrong aspect of this email scandal. Listen.
Look, we have been speculating for a year about what the email scandal was all about, and I think we were diverted for a year about the classification. It's a real issue, serious issue, but that was never the issue. The issue we've always asked ourselves here is, why was she hiding this in the first place? Why did she have a private server? Obviously, it was concealing. What was she concealing? And the most obvious possible answer was the foundation. Now we are learning that exactly is what it was.
Interesting. So that is the real message here. And Charles Krauthammer has, he's been critical of, well, not critical, but he said, when all the dust settles, we're not going to be focused on Benghazi. He said that months and months and months ago. He said the American people, when they go to in the voting booth, Benghazi is not going to be what they're focused on. Maybe he's hit on something important here, that email server is really the thing that could turn the tide.
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately, it may be the Clinton Foundation, but it's trustworthiness. It's above the law. It's the Clintons don't follow the rules that everyday Americans do. I think that's the main takeaway. They said, we don't want scrutiny. We don't want accountability from these emails. We're going to whitewash what we can. And we've already found out that of the deleted emails, some of them include the word Benghazi. So we know that of the 15,000 that are going to come out still from the FBI, some of them did pertain to Benghazi, which shows that it wasn't all about yoga.
And the only reason we know about this server is because of Benghazi and because the investigation at Benghazi.
Indeed.
Meanwhile, Tim Kaine.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk about race this week. This has been a huge subject on the campaign trail. A lot. And bigot has been another word that's been thrown around by Donald Trump, calling Hillary Clinton a bigot. Doubled down on that this week.
Indeed. So Tim Kaine was on the trail in Tallahassee, and this is what he said, trying to link Donald Trump to the KKK.
Yesterday, Hillary Clinton gave a speech in Reno, Nevada, calling out Donald Trump on a lot of things on this equality idea, calling him out on the fact that he has supporters like David Duke connected with the Ku Klux Klan who are going around and saying Donald Trump is their candidate because Donald Trump is pushing their values. Ku Klux Klan values, David Duke values, Donald Trump values are not American values. They're not our values, and we've got to do all we can to fight, to push back and win, to say that we're still about heading toward that North Star that we set out so long ago.
All right, now part of that is fair. That is true. But it's been unsolicited. Donald Trump never asked for David Duke's support of him. He did come out and he did say, look, because Donald Trump, his message is now bringing us closer to the values that I support.
But think about this. Ku Klux Klan values are Donald Trump values. I mean, just because you want to build a wall or you don't want to let in people who are trying to infiltrate doesn't mean you support the values of white supremacists. I mean, they're conflating the two 100%. They're trying to make Donald Trump look like a racist because he supports certain policies. Right. You can't control everyone that supports you, and that doesn't mean you endorse them because of it.
Right, but so wait a second. If you're out there on the campaign trail, Sandra, and you're saying that the Ku Klux Klan is Donald Trump values because an unsolicited support, shouldn't the same thing be true of Hillary Clinton?
Well, certainly. And then there's no mention of this and talking about the way the media is covering this election and covering the candidates. This new videotape that surfaced this morning showing KKK Grand Dragon endorsing Hillary Clinton.
I'm sure it's going to be on all of the major networks.
Let's listen.
Who do you like for president, sir?
Hillary Clinton.
Do you think whites are superior to African Americans and Latinos?
Well, we are God's chosen people.
We are God's chosen people, and I support Hillary Clinton. So we'll see if the mainstream. Oh, we'll see if Tim Kaine out on the campaign trail also points that out.
Wonderful endorsement from the Grand Dragon there. I mean, the fact that that's what we're citing at this point of who you are and what you believe is insane. But this is something the left has trafficked in for a long time, is race baiting, and they found a target, they think, a juicy target in Donald Trump, and they're going to keep doing it. But what happens when something like this comes out?
Well, is
the mainstream media ever going to talk about that?
Donald Trump campaign firing back, saying that the Hillary Clinton camp had better pull down the video that they released on this, and trying to tie the KKK to Donald Trump. They're calling Hillary Clinton a bigot for even doing that. So we'll wait for a response from the Clinton camp.
And let's hear your responses as well. Email us, tweet us. What do you think? Will the mainstream media be covering that equally? All right. Now your headlines. Tragedy surrounding the family of one of the NBA's biggest stars this morning. The cousin, Dwayne Wade, shot and killed in Chicago while pushing a baby stroller. Nikia Aldridge caught in the crossfire outside an elementary school by two men who were targeting someone else. So far, no suspects are in custody. The baby in the stroller was not hurt. Wade tweeting, "My cousin was killed today in Chicago. Another act of senseless gun violence. 4 kids lost their mom for no reason. Unreal. Hashtag enough is enough." And new overnight, Kansas City underwater. A flash flood emergency declared as water levels went above car doors. It's the first flash flood emergency ever in the area. Up to 6 inches of rain falling in just 2 hours in parts of the city. Stranding cars. There were also at least 10 water rescues in just one county. Well, it looks like we've achieved clarity with Russia on Syria. Sort of. Secretary of State John Kerry says he and his Russian counterpart have finally agreed on steps to reinstate a ceasefire, but they still have a lot of details to work out. Kerry has warned that a political solution is the only thing that can end Syria's 5-year civil war. All right, here it is. An angry dad getting vengeance after finding his daughter fooling around with a boy inside her car.
Go Dad.
That's real, and that's Mike Card using a digger to flip and destroy his daughter's customized red Audi.
Why did he buy a car like that for his daughter? That's the first mistake. Yeah.
The $13,000 car tossed around like a toy as the girl's brother recorded.
Of course, the brother records it.
Yeah, the entire ordeal before uploading it in North Carolina. It takes just 2 minutes for the angry dad to turn the car into a mangled heap of metal.
You know, when I buy that car used, I'm going to check the Carfax on that because I know there's going to be some. First of all, $13,000 for that doesn't sound right either.
Well, I think that they're saying it was bought used. I don't think you can buy an Audi.
Did the punishment fit the crime? No way. It's a classic father overreaction. We've all been there.
I'll leave that up to the dads on the couch.
Think about it, Mike.
Meanwhile, we'll get to Janice Dean, who's got 2 sons, so maybe you're not going to...
Oh, my gosh. No, the boyfriend was not in the car, though, right?
We don't know.
Okay, no one was hurt in the making of that video. Kid, have you noticed anything different about me?
Lovely.
I am a rising star at Cracker Barrel. Yes, Cracker Barrel has taken over 48th and 6th Street, one of the best Fox and Friend weekends I have ever been part of. I'm sipping my Cracker Barrel coffee. We have Cracker Barrel cake, as well as all sorts of fun today. Also, some live music coming up and dancing. Stay tuned. Let's take a look at the weather. It is a beautiful day here in New York City. 87 is your daytime high. We've got a system across the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. We're going to continue to monitor for the risk of strong to severe storms, and we are also watching the tropics. Yes, it's that time of year where hurricane season creeps up on us at the end of August into September, so we're watching this area of low pressure. It has not developed into anything just yet, but as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico, we're going to have to watch it very carefully as the waters are very warm there, and obviously we're going to be worried about the potential for some flooding and some gusty winds along the Gulf Coast. All right, I'm just going to play checkers with myself out here in my rising star apron.
Those rocking chairs are the best, too. That's a good, relaxing moment there, Janice. Enjoy it.
Well done.
All right, well, if the latest polls are right, Donald Trump's support among African Americans in the single digits. But our next guest says his policies are actually better for African Americans compared to Hillary Clinton's, and there's proof.
And are you sick of slow drivers blocking the fast lane? Never again, because the government has a new plan, a new regulation on gas pedals. Great.
Isn't it okay if you're driving the speed limit?
No, it's not.
Fox News Channel on Sirius XM. Your favorite shows on Channel 114. Plus every story, every 15 minutes. Fox News headlines 24/7. Channel 115.
All right, Donald Trump has ramped up his outreach to African Americans.
My goal is to provide every African American child in our country with access to the ladder of American success. That means good education and a great paying job.
He's hitting the trail, but are his policies the right ones for the black community?
And will it matter? Jennifer Burke is the editor-in-chief for Politistic, and she joins us now. Nice to see you this morning, Jennifer.
Good to see you as well.
So the argument is that this is, well, first of all, the argument is that his policies are better for African Americans. And for so long, under liberal policies, we've had record black youth unemployment and all kinds of problems in the black community. Will that message resonate with black voters?
You know, it should resonate. I just want to say I'm not a huge Trump supporter, but he is right when it comes to Democrat policies. I mean, just look at what has happened to the black community under Obama. They're faring far worse economically than ever before. I mean, it's actually disastrous. And one of the first things that Obama did when he took office was try to take away school choice, which is something that Hillary Clinton also agrees with. Now, the taking away of school choice. Now, Democrats love to say that they are the party of choice, but they're not the party of choice when it comes to something that's going to actually be beneficial to children, period, but especially black children. There are a lot of failing black schools. I mean, that's just a reality. And the school choice program would open up more options to parents everywhere to give their kids an actual shot at achieving the American dream. And if Democrats truly believe in that, they would support school choice policies.
Jennifer, that's a great point. I mean, and we're going to put up a couple of statistics really quick. A poll from Education Next that shows that African Americans, they would prefer, whenever possible, the ability to have school vouchers and charter schools by overwhelming numbers. 58% support the ability to have school vouchers, over 18% opposed, 44% support charter schools, over 18% support. So if the black community wants the ability to send their kids to the best possible schools, which anyone would want, regardless of race, why do those politicians block? And there's the poll right there. 58% want school vouchers, the ability to go to a different school if your school is failing you. Why is it that liberal politicians like Hillary Clinton are so fixated on saying, no school choice for you when you're trapped in failing schools?
It's all about control. I mean, it's been that way with the Democrat Party for decades. It is all about control. Within the public school system, there are some conservatives within it. I mean, I have a few conservative friends that are teachers. But overwhelmingly, from K through grad school, liberals control the policies. And we've seen them turn more into indoctrination centers than actually teaching some of the core things that students should know. That's why kids graduate from high school, if they're lucky, and actually have to take some remedial courses in college because they haven't learned a lot of the things that they should learn. And we've seen, I have many friends also who homeschool, and we've seen the government slowly dip its hand into homeschooling as well to have that control. That's why they don't like school choice.
All right, Jennifer Burke, thanks for joining us this morning. Good to have you.
Thanks, you.
Jennifer. Coming up here on the show, a mom leaves her 8- and 9-year-old kids home alone for 45 minutes. Now she's being charged as a criminal. Does the punishment fit the crime? Our parenting panel will discuss next.
Now to some news by the numbers this morning. First, 6 bosses in less than 3 years, soon to be the case for the Phoenix VA clinic after Deborah Amdur announces she is stepping down after just months on the job. That clinic still trying to fix dangerous wait times. Next, $3 million. That's how much money Border Patrol seized from 2 men heading for Mexico. Agents stopping 2 suspicious vehicles in Escondido, California, before finding boxes filled with cash. cash. Both men were arrested. And finally, 30 hours, that's how long a select group of part-time workers will be working per week at Amazon as part of a pilot program to help employees become happier and more productive. Speaking of productive, Pete, over to you.
Sandra, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, a mother now facing charges for leaving her 8- and 9-year-old children alone at their vacation rental for about 45 minutes while she went to go pick up their takeout for dinner. Well, there's no specific law in Delaware where she was arrested, just guidelines that police will investigate reports of children 12 and under being left home alone. So, does her punishment fit the crime, or is it a little bit over the line? Let's ask our parenting panel. We have Keisha Haban is an attorney and a mother. Tom Kirsting is a father and a psychotherapist. And Sam Sorbo is a mom and the host of the Sam Sorbo Show on TRN. All right, we all have opinions about this, myself included. So, Keisha, tell me, is this over the line? I mean, leaving your kids for 45 minutes to go pick up their meal, they're 8 and 9, too much?
I think it's a big problem. Not only should not only should she have been charged criminally, but Children Protective Services should also be involved. You're leaving children in a rental, so it's not like their normal home environment that they're familiar with, and they end up in the middle of the street chasing the dog.
So that's a detail that we didn't disclose up front. The reason they were found out is because they went out to chase the dog. They were found in the middle of the street. Someone rode up by a stranger,
who could have been a molester or anything,
which could add a variable to any of this. So Tom, kids are found outside. But what if they had stayed inside and hadn't gone outside? Did this mother overstep her bounds?
I don't understand how she was arrested. It clearly states that there's no law. So how are you arrested for violating a law if there is no law about that, first of all? Secondly, I think it should really be at the discretion of the parent. I mean, 8 and 9, I think that's, if you agree, I'm okay with that personally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know my kids. I know my kids are not going to run out on the street by themselves if I go out for a half an hour. But if you have kids that do that, then maybe you shouldn't be leaving your parents your kids at home.
Tom, that's a great point. And Sam, I asked my wife about this very thing, and she said, hey, 6-year-old, I have a 6- and 4-year-old at home, 8 and 9, 6 and 8, they're all different in their maturity levels and others. Who should be drawing this line? Why should the government be telling us what age you can when a parent can make a call of, hey, my kid's ready for this or not?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because I have to ask why the guy thought that the government was the best person to solve this issue. Why he didn't just either stay with the kids and then talk to the mother when she got back and say, hey, your kids were running out in the street. We don't have all the details here, but the idea that this gentleman thinks that the government can solve this problem is what's problematic to me. The idea that we're taking all the responsibility for parenting now and putting it at the feet of the government that has already shown that it is completely incapable of even educating our children, that's a problem for me.
Well, Keisha, you mentioned Child Protective Services, which to many people would sound like, you know, there are instances of child abuse. This is, hey, I'm going to pick up meals for my kids. I want them to stay inside. Is this what the government should be focusing on?
This is neglect. And I've seen cases where parents have left their children in cars while they ran into the store for 5 minutes, and they're charged with endangered welfare.
Because I'm tempted to do that at my general store in my small town, because I want to go get a loaf of bread or something, and hey, the kids are really
clearly this mom didn't give these children instructions. Why was the door open? How did the dog end up out in the middle of the street? That stranger could have been a danger to those children, and she didn't leave them with specific instructions. So that's neglect. That's not making sure your children are safe.
Tom, neglect?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, my parents, the way I was raised, my parents would have been arrested 500 times by now. And I think I turned out pretty well. I don't feel neglected at all. I felt pretty loved.
I mean, judging based on this segment, you're okay.
Yeah,
we'll see where it goes from here. Sam, any last thoughts on this?
Well, the idea that the kids were left and they weren't given instructions not to talk to strangers, not to tell the stranger, no, my mom's just in the shower, everything's fine, we're taken care of, that is a problem, and I have to question that, because we really don't have all the details here.
No, I think parents everywhere in America are saying, hey, I probably left my kids, including myself, for a couple of minutes here or there. Is that okay? You're right, though. When the government steps in, they're going to have a heavy hand when the judgment of parents is ultimately what
Where is common decency? Where is common courtesy? Where did that go?
A lot of common decency and common sense on this panel. Thank you all this morning. That's right. Thank you all for joining us. Common sense is the key. We appreciate it. Parents all. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. A new email bombshell for Hillary Clinton. Some of her thousands of deleted emails are related to Benghazi. So what is she trying to hide? Plus, we saw shocking faces here on the panel. Chaos under the lights. A high school football game is canceled because of something that happened in the stands. Those details next. And nobody saw this coming. A major terror scare sends people running for their lives, and you can blame in sync for that. That is kind of a scary photo. Look at that parent.
There are 15 weekends this summer. Head to the Acura Summer of Performance event going on now. Find adventures as you find new trails. Own the road by making your own. And if you bring it all, bring it on. Summer's going fast, so there's not a moment to waste.
Visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the RDX.
How's yours, Mom? Ask your dad.
Now at Ruby Tuesday for just $12.99, enjoy a favorite entree, 2 sides, endless garden bar, plus your choice of dessert, and some of theirs. 3 courses, just $12.99, only at Ruby Tuesday.
With menopause, I expected hot flashes. But struggling to zip my jeans? For elastic waistbands.
Only Estroven Weight Management helps safely manage weight and relieves hot flashes. Safe, trusted Estroven.
I wasn't sleeping well. My neck would be stiff.
I had like memory foams, I had feather pillows, and I'd always wake up with neck pain, and I had constant headaches. After sleeping on my pillow, I didn't wake up with the headaches. I was more aligned. Everything felt good.
I didn't realize.
Kick your shoes off, kick 'em off, get you some of this slow down fast. I'll take you up and down.
Have you been to a Cracker Barrel lately? I'm sure on your summer road trips you probably did. Well, they built an entire store right on our plaza this morning out here on 48th and 6th. Cracker Barrel is here. They're going to be talking about Operation Homefront, which helps our nation's heroes. We'll tell you about that program and some rocking chairs and great food coming up a little bit. Get a great cup of coffee out there. Operation Homefront does provide for military families here, immediate needs, long-term needs. It's very cool, and there's a collaboration between the Cracker Barrel and Operation Homefront. We're going to be talking about this hour.
Excellent.
Love it.
All right, and Janice Dean has been enjoying that beautiful Cracker Barrel.
She hasn't spent any time with us inside at all. Yeah. She's like, there's rocking chairs and food?
Rocking chairs and food, 2 magic words in my life. I will be out here all morning and possibly all afternoon. I want to talk to you guys. What's your name?
I'm Jim.
And you are? Gina. And where are you from?
Denver.
I see you're a Peyton Manning fan.
Big fan. I'm glad that he got through and he got to the Super Bowl without really getting hurt.
Very nice. Now, you came down to watch Fox and Friends and to partake in the Cracker Barrel food and fun?
We've been eating at Cracker Barrel for years.
Oh, fabulous. Well, have fun today. Is there anybody you want to say hi at home to?
Hi, Melody. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Melody. Hi, Bill. Let's take a look at the forecast. You know what? It's a beautiful day to be outside on a Rocky. It's a temperature 60 Minneapolis, a little bit cooler across the northern Rockies. We're getting into the time of the year where we're going to start to feel that cool air from Canada. The potential for strong to severe storms across the upper Midwest today. Maybe some large hail, damaging winds, isolated tornadoes. Not an outbreak like we saw earlier this week, but we're going to watch the skies there. And it is that time of year, the tropics we are monitoring. We have an area of low pressure across the Bahamas that could develop maybe in the next couple of days, but right now it's not even a depression, it's not a named storm, but we have to monitor it. This is one of our tropical models that we like to take a peek at. We have Gaston out there in the Atlantic east of Bermuda, but this thing, we're going to have to watch it as it goes into the Gulf of Mexico potentially Monday and Tuesday for development. Well, I hope I can join you on your rocking chairs. Everybody having a good time out here? Yeah. All right. You have to come join me.
You've got quite the crowd out there, Janice Dean. Very, very nice. All right, well, we will be out there in just a moment, but first we're going to get your headlines this morning. Chaos at a high school football game. Several fights breaking out in the Florida Stadium, sending fans scrambling in the confusion. All of this happening during the third quarter of a rivalry game between 2 schools in Fort Pierce. Players forced to lay on the ground before the game was called off and the stadium was cleared. 1 man was taken into custody and 3 others had to be taken to the hospital with minor injuries. All right, well, a former InSyncer's new business venture leads to an active shooter scare. This must Joey Fatone is opening a hot dog kiosk at an Orlando mall. During a routine fire inspection, 6 balloons popped, followed by a fire alarm. But despite a warning announcement beforehand, the pops were mistaken for gunshots. People frantically running for the exits. 9 people were hurt in the meantime. A bus falling into a sinkhole is quite a sight to see, but one woman's account of the ordeal steals the show.
So, you know, me, I was like, well, damn, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? These people got places to go. So next thing you know, the bus was like, you know what I'm saying, tipping on 4 foes. So he like off the back, you know, leaning with it. Yeah. So, and the next thing you know, he was in there for hours. I'm telling the story, y'all, hold on.
That was Janae Mandeville. She proceeded to give a couple of shout-outs to her friends during that live interview, all while describing the scene that she witnessed. And by the way, a water main break caused that sinkhole. All right, the government wants to make truck and bus drivers slow down. The U.S. trying to force a nationwide speed limit on large vehicles by electronically capping speeds. Newly made trucks and buses that weigh more than 26,000 pounds would be fitted with a special device. It would physically prevent vehicles from exceeding limits of 60 to 68 miles per hour, though that could change. The government says capping speeds for large vehicles will reduce deadly crashes and save $1 billion in fuel costs. And those are your headlines on this Saturday morning. And now to the crew. They're out on the plaza. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm missing out.
Don't adjust your sets. We're not on vacation. Everyone knows Cracker Barrel for the delicious food they serve, the unique atmosphere they provide, and, of course, their iconic rocking chairs.
But did you know that purchasing a rocking chair could actually help one of our heroes? Well, here to explain is Chris Chivara, Senior Vice President of Marketing for Cracker Barrel, and John Price, CEO of Operation Homefront, formerly a Brigadier General in the Air Force as well. Thank you both for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Chris. We're in these comfy rocking chairs. Tell us about the initiative you guys have undertaken here.
Sure. So Cracker Barrel is continuing its commitment to military families. We've had a long-standing tradition with the military, going back all the way to our founder, to our current CEO. Military families are a very important thing to us, and so we're very excited to be partnering with Operation Homefront. We're here today to celebrate Operation Rocker.
John, tell me about Operation Homefront. What does it do?
Well, Operation Homefront is a nationally recognized nonprofit, and I'm really proud to say that we have earned Charity Navigator's prestigious 4-star rating for the 9th consecutive year.
What does that mean?
Well, you know, it's we have a variety of different charity oversight groups that take a look and make sure that we're actually delivering on our promise.
And what are you delivering for vets and military families?
Well, you know, we have a variety of different programs that we use to help our military overcome some of the financial challenges that they face as they either are in service or as they transition out of service into their civilian communities.
And John, why was this important for Cracker Barrel to be a part of?
So as I said before, Cracker Barrel's commitment to military families is a long-standing piece, and for us, when we think about kind of the Cracker Barrel experience in families and kind of bringing people home, for us this is a sort of very important thing.
What's been the response?
So the response has been great so far. We've sold close to 500 rockers for this program specifically. We've committed to Operation Homefront as our flagship partner, and we'll be working with them over the next year and are committing up to $100,000.
And so how does that work for people who want to get involved? You purchase a rocking chair, and what happens?
Sure. So you go to crackerbarrel.com and you purchase a rocking chair or a cushion, and then we'll actually donate a rocking chair cushion to Operation Homefront.
I'm going to buy one today for the weather office.
That is
I'm going to buy one right now.
I love these. Every time we go to Cracker Barrel, I mean, you go in, you want to sit before you go in, and then you come out after a big meal, and you want to sit there for a few hours. Do you ever kick any loafers out who are just sitting there all day?
You know, so the front porch at Cracker Barrel is this amazing place if you think about it, right? It's a place you can kind of go, rest, relax, kind of be all doing slow down.
Yeah, right.
Very welcoming place for us. So for us, it's a great gathering space, family and friends. So I'm not surprised to see us all kind of sitting here
and
relaxing.
you're giving a slice of that to military families as well.
John, what's been the response from military families?
Well, it's always great. And I think it's really very powerful for a lot of our military families to realize that their American public is supporting them.
Sure,
and this is a great way with partnership with Cracker Barrel to show your support for our military families.
Well, I've never been more relaxed.
Yeah.
I disagree. I've seen some lounging
just
before.
Clayton, take it from here, will you?
John, Chris, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much. Go to OperationHomefront.net. You can find out more. Also to crackerbarrel.com and order one of these chairs.
I just need a fan. Can you fan me?
We'll get
fan her. I'll read. And coming up next hour, meet a military family who just received a new mortgage-free home from Operation Homefront. Stick around.
All right, Sandra, take it away inside. Hold on.
You guys are having way too much fun out there. I'll be out there a little bit later on. Don't you worry. Hillary Clinton's newest email bombshell, how far she went to hide them.
And they didn't just push the delete button. They had them deleted where even God can't read them.
And some of those emails are related to Benghazi. What doesn't she want to see? Doesn't want us to see, I should say. And one state is $8 billion in the hole. The lawmakers are more worried about banning Pokemon Go.
Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat, don't tip the boat over. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. But tonight we sail through every storm.
Month.
And welcome back. Some quick headlines for you. Facebook says humans will no longer play a role in its trending topics section. The site says articles will be chosen by an algorithm and editors will no longer write a brief review. Instead, the topic will say how many people are talking about that story. The change follows accusations that the site censored conservative news. And despite being $8 billion in the hole, Illinois lawmakers find time to attack Pokemon Go. They want to fine game makers for making Pokestops at people's homes and wildlife preserves. It would be called Pidgey's Law, named after a popular Pokemon, of course. Pete, Sandra?
You got to stop the Pokey. Thank you, Clayton. All right, the newest bombshell in the Clinton server scandal showing just how far Hillary Clinton went to hide her emails.
If she considered them to be personal, then we move into the facet where she and her lawyers had those emails deleted. And they didn't just push the delete button, they had them deleted where even God can't read them.
Wow, some of the withheld emails are said to be related to the Benghazi attack. So what exactly was she trying to hide? Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch, joins us now. You guys have been busy. What do you think she was trying to hide with these emails?
Well, it's what we're being told by the State Department. We had a Benghazi email lawsuit for the Clinton emails about Benghazi. We were told by the government they did a search of these undeleted emails by the FBI, the emails that the FBI recovered that Mrs. Clinton didn't want anyone to see. And they did a search using these Benghazi-related search terms, and they came up with hits. And they said they want to give them to us on September 30th, of course. And the court said, well, wait, how many are we talking about? We asked about how many they're talking about. They don't want to tell us, so the court's going to set a hearing just to find out this basic information on Tuesday.
Tom, I mean, Judicial Watch, you guys have been doing yeoman's work, really digging to get the truth on these things. Of the 33,000 deleted emails, we're now hearing, as you said, that 15,000 are recovered. I mean, you said Benghazi has come up as a search term. How many would you expect? I mean, is there any sense of how deep this could go or how wide it could go? How many of these could be work-related? And how quickly will they be released?
Well, that's the question. They're going to begin to be released next month for sure. Two courts have ordered the release of records by in September if they are responsive to two separate Judicial Watch lawsuits, one on behalf of someone else in Florida who has a Benghazi lawsuit. And then we have a lawsuit about Yuma Abedin's special government employee status where she was working for the government and the Clinton Foundation at the same time. An interesting job. But also the government has to come in and tell us on September 23rd when they're going to release all of these new Clinton emails. And the courts have made it clear they don't want stalling unnecessarily here. So the materials are going to begin to be released as soon as September 13th, if not sooner.
And Thomas, speaking of timing of all of this, we now know that this federal judge that ordered the State Department to release the batches of her schedules, who she met with while she was Secretary of State, the Associated Press now saying it won't finish the job. The government told the Associated Press that they will not be releasing the last of her schedules before Election Day. What do you make of that?
Well, it's just more of the same from the State Department. They've been slow-rolling documents for Mrs. Clinton since the get-go. They let her take all these documents out, and once they got them back, they didn't want to give them to anybody quickly. They all had to be forced by the courts to do so. And I know in one of our cases, this big Yuma Abedin case where we've been getting these documents about the Clinton Foundation, we're going to be getting documents from the State Department through April of 2017. I tell you, if the government wanted these documents released, they could have been released years ago. And if we put people on the moon, we can release more than a few hundred pages a month out of one federal agency. It's obviously a political game the State Department's playing to help Mrs. Clinton.
Indeed, Tom, it's a matter of priority. Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch. When the history of this election is written, Tom, Judicial Watch will certainly not be on the sidelines. Thank you for your time.
All right, Tom, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you.
All right. Well, good news, everyone. John Kerry says, well, we've achieved clarity with Russia. But what does that really mean? Jillian Turner here to react at the top of the hour.
Plus, it's almost back to school time. Your kids are going back on Monday, right, Pete?
I shopped yesterday for school supplies.
All right, so you want to make sure your kid gets to their first class on time? Clayton is going to help you with some special gear next.
You better get me.
It is almost back to school time, and you want to make sure your kid gets to class on time, right? Well, Clayton's got some help for you and your children.
I once slept through a final, and I don't want that to happen to you in college.
How did you do on that final?
Actually got in there with 10 minutes left and got an A on it.
There we go.
So, but you don't want that to happen. And look, back to the dorm room time. I've got some great gadgets to show you, and it starts with iHome. I love their alarm clocks. They're designed and engineered in the United States. They make fantastic alarm clocks, different colors, charging stations, and docks. I like this where you can actually put an iPhone, rose gold, sit it right on there on the dock and charge overnight.
Nice.
Plus, you can download the apps to make sure you get up on time. This one will fit any cases, or most cases, and you can actually put an iPad or another tablet right on top of it and switch them out. So perfect for the dorm room.
So why can't you use the alarm on your phone, rather?
Indeed.
Why is that better?
Well, because it's charging it also. So not only is it charging it, you can also charge other devices, listen to the radio, you can wake up with your favorite music.
Your drums out if you need to. For some of us that need to wake up.
One of the problems that when I was at the University of Pittsburgh, I lived in the towers. That was my dorm room, and you could hear all the hallway noise. You couldn't get a good night's sleep. So if you're concerned about your kid getting a good night's sleep, this is a fantastic device from Hello. They make the Sense Sleep Monitor. And what's amazing about this is it'll improve your sleep. You'll learn how the environment of your bedroom, basically, and it'll listen to and it'll give you the best night's sleep. You actually place it.
That's the case.
You actually place the little clip on your pillow. That works with the little clip, and it monitors the environment, gets you a good night's sleep. It'll play ambient sound to block out the noise down the hallway, so you're not being waken up. Yeah.
I go into my 10-month-old's little nursery. We got ambient noise is key. Also in college, though.
A little white noise, and you can use that for it. Is brilliant.
Tell me the name of this again.
This is the Sense from Hello.
Okay.
Now I have to say my favorite computer. I've now switched fully. My main computer is an iPad Pro, the 9.7 inch. I can do so much work, and this is perfect all-day battery life for a student who has to go to class, sit there, take notes. You can use the Apple Pencil and do handwritten notes.
How about the keyboard? Is that
the keyboard? And I use the smart cover, the smart keyboard case.
Does it have a USB
super
port?
Light. It does not have a USB port, and it has a lightning connector on the bottom. But all of the productivity apps that you can do here, really fantastic, perfect for the college student on the go.
Okay.
Let me slide down here because if you need battery life,
let's switch this up.
Come on over. I love the folks at Ventev. They make these awesome portable battery cases. So let's say you're out all day, you're at the student union, you're working on a paper.
Everybody keeps telling me I need one of these.
I spend so much time at the student union. I need one of these.
They make fantastic backup batteries that will charge devices multiple times over. That means charging your phone multiple times, your iPad multiple times, your other tablet devices. It works with Lightning and micro USB on the side. Really fantastic.
So I've got one that charges for, quickly for half hour. Are you saying this will do multiple?
Fast charge and do it multiple times. Long airplane flights, really fantastic. And finally, the last thing is Backblaze. It is an online service. If your kids are going off to college, make sure you get them Backblaze because it'll back up every file on their hard drive. It's $5 a month. You never have to worry about your kids losing it.
Good stuff. Clayton, thank you for all the... Saturday morning, everyone. It is August 27th, 2016. I'm Sandra Smith. They're the records that could prove that Hillary Clinton allowed pay to play at the State Department. But guess what? You won't see them until after Election Day. So what are they hiding?
And big breaking news for diplomacy in the Middle East. John Kerry, he's reached clarity with Russia. Of course he has. What does that even mean? We'll find out.
I have clarity this morning.
You're always clear.
That's right. The governor of Maine responding to accusations of outright racism.
I have been accused by the NAACP of saying that the black people can kiss my butt. That was falsely reported in the newspapers. I told the reporter to kiss my butt because I wouldn't answer such a stupid question.
Did more than that with a voicemail. What's happening in Maine? Fox and Friends Hour 3 starts right now.
Take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia.
Yeah, that little boy is thrilled to be on television.
Look at that kid-sized rocking chair, too. How cool is that?
He is adorable.
Love it.
So Cracker Barrel has set up an entire country store on our plaza this morning.
It's absolutely lovely, and our own Janice Dean is out there. She's been enjoying every moment of it.
You know what I love? That kid is playing the little peg game that you get at Cracker Barrel.
He's so into it.
He's like, TV? I don't care about TV.
Yeah.
I care about this peg game from Cracker Barrel. They're going to be telling us about Operation Homefront all morning long. When you buy a rocking chair from crackerbarrel.com, they will actually donate one to a military family.
Beautiful thing.
Really great idea.
Very cool.
All right, now to your headlines this morning. We begin with a Fox News alert. A man is under arrest, charged in the brutal murders of 2 Catholic nuns. Police say 46-year-old Rodney Sanders viciously stabbed Sister Margaret, held and Sister Paula Merrill in their Mississippi home before stealing their car. He faces 2 counts of capital murder. The women had worked as nurse practitioners at a clinic for the poor for the past 30 years. A wake for the sisters will be held tomorrow, followed by a memorial mass on Monday. And another Fox News alert for you this morning. Tragedy surrounding the family of one of the NBA's biggest stars. The cousin of Dwayne Wade shot and killed in Chicago while pushing a baby stroller. Nakia Aldridge caught in the crossfire outside an elementary school by 2 men who were targeting someone else. So far, no suspects are in custody. The baby in the stroller was not hurt. Wade tweeting out, "My cousin was killed today in Chicago." Another act of senseless gun violence. 4 kids lost their mom for no reason. Unreal. Hashtag enough is enough. Also new overnight, Kansas City underwater. A flash flood emergency declared as water levels went above car doors. It's the first flash flood emergency ever in the area. Up to 6 inches of rain falling in just 2 hours in parts of the city, stranding cars. There were also at least 10 water rescues in just 1 county. And a roller coaster nearly toppling over as 6 terrified children are still trapped inside. More than a dozen fairgoers rushing to the scene to hold up the ride. A track malfunction is being blamed for the ride nearly falling over at Bartow County, Georgia. And those are your headlines this Saturday morning.
Thank you, Sandra. Well, Hillary Clinton lucking out again thanks to the State Department. It's just announced that it won't complete the court-ordered release of her personal calendar schedule until after Election Day, December 30th.
Interesting. A little late. Garrett Tenney has all the details from Washington, D.C. Good morning, Garrett.
Pete, Clayton, and Sandra, good morning. You know, the timing of this could not be better for the Clinton campaign. It was just this week that we learned when the AP analyzed the first half of Hillary Clinton's minute-by-minute schedule during her term as Secretary of State that's already been released. More than half of the people she met or spoke with outside the government had given money to the Clinton Foundation for a total of $156 million. That brought a whole new round of criticism for the Clinton Foundation and the appearance of a pay-to-play culture within the Clinton State Department. Clinton has argued the AP's analysis is flawed and that she met with people regardless of whether or not they donated money to her family's charity. But as things currently stand, we won't know until after the election if the second half of her daily minute-by-minute schedule either supports that idea or whether it goes along with a lot of these criticisms we have already seen. Now, this whole saga over her schedules began back in 2010 and 2013 when the AP asked State to release them, but that didn't happen until the AP filed a lawsuit with the State Department in federal court. Now, when that happened, the judge ordered them to start releasing the emails, or the schedules rather, in batches showing who she met with and spoke to during her tenure. Yesterday, the State Department attorneys told the Associated Press, though, there are about 2,700 pages left, meaning under the current schedule, we can expect to see those around December 30th after the election has been wrapped up. Now, the AP has formally requested that process be sped up so that voters have the information prior to the election. Previously, Judge Richard Leon has expressed his own frustration over the state to try and document it to Hinton, and at this point, it is unclear if he will step in with a court order requesting the State Department, or forcing them rather, to speed up this process and get those out before the election.
That'd be convenient. Garrett, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much. Garrett. Well, we want to bring in Fox News contributor and former National Security Council staffer under Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama. That is Jillian Turner. Nice to see you this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. First, just reaction to what we're hearing from Garrett here, not releasing these, potential calendars until the end of the year after the election. Normal protocol?
I don't know, but it's unfortunate for the American voters. You want to have candidates running for president that are transparent and you know what you're getting when you sign up. Here you're going to kind of have to buy and then question the purchase later if you're voting for Secretary Clinton.
Should Hillary Clinton call for these calendars to be released?
That's an interesting idea. It would probably behoove her from an optics perspective, if nothing else. If there's nothing to hide, let's show folks what there is and be honest and open.
So let's move on to this.
I would if I was
overnight. Secretary of State John Kerry claiming the U.S. has achieved clarity with Russia on our roles in the Middle East. So we are asking you, why does this strategy seem so very unclear?
It was a particularly interesting choice. From my perspective, from lots of folks in the foreign policy community's perspective, because it's kind of the antithesis of clarity, whatever that is. What they're trying to do here, it's a noble effort to try and bring a semblance of order and peace to the Syrian people after 5 years of this horrendous civil war. So what's happening, though, is that the United States and Russia are looking to set up the security framework. They want to set up a joint command center in Jordan with some shared intelligence operations to try and coordinate the efforts in Syria. But the big problem, as everybody knows, is that they can't agree on what the security targets are.
Sure.
That's the first problem. I guess the second problem is that the Russians are not to be trusted as far as you can throw a stick in this country.
They're bombing and supporting different targets. Is part of it that Vladimir Putin is trying to supplant America as the chief actor and leader in the Middle East?
Of course. There's a lot of that going on. There's a struggle for here a kind of, a post-Assad Syria in the future, post-Assad Syria in the future and what it looks like. Who's going to have a hand in shaping that new nation? And Russia obviously wants to be the guy on the ground.
And one of our big questions is the strategy. Donald Trump has been hitting the Obama administration on strategy in that region for a long time. What is the strategy? What is the plan for stability in that region? Do we know what it is?
Certainly, with this administration, what they're trying to do is come to what they are going to call a political diplomatic solution. So, rather than send in tanks and guys with guns, they're going to try and negotiate all of this.
So ISIS is cool with
this
diplomats.
Is kind of the first stage in that process. Okay. That's what they're hoping to do.
And Jillian, we had a chance to talk about this yesterday morning, but this week we saw that the Iranian confrontation with the U.S. destroyer, and now this, that Iran confrontations with U.S. Navy ships are up 50% this year alone. What does this say about our relations with Iran right now and the way that Iran views America?
Well, it's not the first provocation by the Iranians in the Persian Gulf this year. We're going to probably see more. In my opinion, it's because there's no incentives. We provide them none to not behave in that way. From my perspective, it goes back to the nuclear deal and the fact that there were no preconditions. We took the nuclear issue and decided to negotiate with them on it out of the framework of everything else. So we allow them to continue their egregious human rights violations, atrocities against their own people. We allow them to continue sponsoring terrorism around the region. And from their perspective, there's no reason to curtail any of that.
And of course, we're seeing an axis between Iran and Vladimir Putin in Russia, right? Emerging
the new axis of evil.
Yeah.
Jillian Turner, always great to see you.
Always good with words.
Thanks, guys.
Our new axis of evil. Thank you, Jillian.
Thank you, John. All right. Janice Dean is standing by outside. We look at the forecast. She's out in the Cracker Barrel Country Store on our plaza.
Oh my gosh! And look at this. This is the double chocolate fudge Coca-Cola cake. Okay, Chris from Cracker Barrel.
He says it's not going to be a hold back.
Oh, I'll eat it.
Hold this
I'm
microphone.
going to hold this.
Tell me about this wonderful cake that you make at Cracker Barrel while I eat it.
This is one of our beloved menu items. As you said, it's our double chocolate fudge Coca-Cola cake. It is, as you can see, kind of really sweet, delicious, served with ice cream. One of the reasons why we brought it today was this is something that we serve on Veterans Day, free to all active and veterans, to thank them for our service to our country.
Oh my gosh, and thank you for this cake. I love it.
Thanks for enjoying it.
Let's do some weather while I eat this cake. little bit of a disturbance here across South Florida. You hold that for me. We're watching this, the area of low pressure that actually could move into the Gulf of Mexico, so we're watching that very carefully. Tornado threat through tonight. Oh my gosh, I'm doing the weather while I have chocolate cake. It's never been done before, but it's delicious. Here's your area of low pressure across the Bahamas. Watching it very carefully. It's not a depression, it's not even a storm yet, but as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico, it does potentially have characteristics to develop, but for now it looks good. There are your highs today. Okay, forget the little plate. I'm going for the big kahuna here. Look at this. Thank you, Chris, so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for the rockers. Thank you for the cake. Thank you for the beautiful display. Thank you for... Thank you.
Coca-Cola chocolate cake.
Look at this Coca-Cola chocolate cake.
When we tossed out the JSD, Pete Hicks is sitting here like...
Pavlovian response.
Out there.
I've never seen you turn down food. All right, Hillary Clinton says Donald Trump has a long history of being racist, but filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza says Clinton is ignoring her own party's history. He joins us next.
Then one baseball team recruiting straight from the farm team.
What?
Wild thing, you make my heart sing. You make it.
A man with a long history of racial discrimination who traffics in dark conspiracy theories should never run our government or command our military.
She is a bigot because you look at what's happening to the inner cities. You look at what's happening to African Americans and Hispanics in this country. She's selling them down the tubes because she's not doing anything for those communities.
A war of words between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump as both nominees accuse each other of racism and bigotry.
So where does this leave black voters? And do Democrats deserve the support they receive from African Americans? Our next guest doesn't think so.
Dinesh D'Souza is the filmmaker and author of Hillary's America, which reveals the secret history of the Democratic Party.
And he joins us now from Dallas. Dinesh, thanks for joining us this morning. So Hillary Clinton alleges a long history of racial discrimination from Donald Trump. What say you about the history of Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Party?
Well, Bill than Trump. Hillary, a few years ago, speaking of young black males, called them super predators. Bill said of Obama in 2008, he said a few years ago, this guy would be getting us coffee. He's talking about Obama, a black senator from Illinois. The Clintons have both lavishly praised Robert Byrd, who was active in the Ku Klux Klan, and used the N-word right until the time he died. Now, Donald Trump has no history, nothing that even compares to any of this, and we're not even getting into the history of the Democratic Party, which has been actively involved in the Ku Klux Klan for almost 50 years.
Okay, so Dinesh, where this week is Hillary Clinton? She says Trump has long history of discrimination. He has gone on in ads as well, listing courting of hate groups. Where is she coming from on this, on her attacks on Donald Trump and race?
Well, she's referring to a handful of ragtag white supremacists who are completely irrelevant and have no influence. And these are people who have endorsed Trump. Now, he hasn't endorsed them. The vast majority of heads of the Klan, going all the way back through the 20th century, have all been Democrats. So I think the Democrats are used to going to this playbook and pointing to the Republicans as the party of bigotry, but the actual history reveals something quite different.
So let's talk about your film for a second. Democrats say that they're the party of the little guy, and you say your film blows the lid off that.
The Democrats passed every segregation law in the South. The Democrats also were active in lynching. If you look at the history of the thousands of people who have been brutalized and lynched, the vast majority of that has been done by the Democratic Party. But this is a party that has never acknowledged its own history. It has never apologized for its crimes. It blames the South. It blames white people, it blames America, it blames everybody except themselves.
Well, Dinesh, I saw the premiere of your film at the RNC. Also talks about
it's essentially the Democrats have their powerful control of academia, of Hollywood and the media. Those are three of the biggest megaphones of our culture. When you control those three things, you can put out a lot of disinformation, a lot of propaganda.
So Dinesh, at this election, Donald Trump is in the polls after a week where we saw a back and forth on race that got very heated. Can he win more support of the minority vote? Is there time?
I think he can, but I think the more important aspect of what Trump is doing in taking on this issue is he is helping to erode and deplete the moral capital that the Democrats have used for a whole generation. The Democrats claim to be the party of civil rights. They're not. And so if you can strip them of that moral capital, their ethical claim to rule is eroded.
All right.
Dinesh D'Souza, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, remember when somebody at the State Department edited a Fox News question out of the official video? Well, this morning, that scandal just got even bigger. Details next.
Is it Sandra or Sandra?
You're on the phonetical.
The 10 words, I know, because it's Sandra. The 10 words American can't say. We put you to the test next. And Sandra.
Sandra.
Welcome back. Some quick headlines for you. A cop surviving a gunshot thanks to the badge on his chest. It happened during a high-speed chase in California. The bullet going through the windshield, ricocheting off the officer's badge, leaving quite a mark. The officer is fine, and the shooter was killed. And here's an example of how not to handle an animal runaway onto a highway. Look at this woman. Well, look, grab your kids and watch this. Brought traffic to a halt while trying to save a cat right in the middle of the busy Houston road. Sort of like totally oblivious to all the danger around her. It's like she didn't even know she was on a highway. Eventually, workers stepped in, helped her capture the stray cat, but they're trying to correct the case now.
Wow. Well, hopefully the cat was okay.
Well, hey, did you see this new study that just came out? And let's get out to Pete Hegseth. He's outside with us this morning. There's a new study out this morning, and it breaks down the words that Americans can't pronounce correctly.
That's right. You couldn't pronounce them. Sandra did pronounce most of them except her own name. So we're going to try the American public here and get a sense of what we can and cannot pronounce. The New York Post pointed out 30 words we can't. We've got 10 out here. I've got my own Emily. She's going to serve as my Vanna White. Thank you very much, by the way. And we're going to go through and ask some folks here how they pronounce words properly. All right? All right, here we go. Sherbert. And what was your name again?
Deborah from Chicago.
From Chicago. Okay, you might have an accent. What do you got with this one?
It's sherbet.
Sherbet? It's sherbet. I bet you didn't know that. I didn't know that either, but all of America's pronouncing it improperly. All right, sir, what's your name?
AJ.
And from?
Wisconsin.
From Wisconsin. Could have an accent.
Hey, Pete,
what do we got here?
Hey, Pete, don't give him the word first.
I know I shouldn't. I know I'm giving him the incorrect pronunciation, Clayton.
Right, you threw him under the bus.
Croissant. He's right. Croissant. Maybe a little more huan, and you would be correct. All right, ma'am, where are you coming from?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. We got great accents out here this morning. What? You should know this one, New Hampshire, then.
Worcester.
What is it?
Worcester.
Worcester. It's Worcestershire. You say it again?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. We're trying to get it correct for everyone here. They're pretty close. We'll give you a mulligan on that one. All right. Ma'am, where are you from? What's your name?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Where? How do you pronounce this word?
Lamb-based.
She says lamb-based. She is correct.
She got it.
Lamb-based. I would not have got. I would have said lambast. I think everyone else would. Okay, we're going to go rapid fire around here on the rest of them here, ma'am.
I got this one. Niche.
Niche. Yeah. We've got some smart folks out here on the. This is an A team out here. Wisconsin's got cash. Cash. I would say cache, as we said in the military in Iraq. We found a weapons cache, but it is cash.
Now
well
we can
done,
see
sir.
the card. All right.
Espresso.
Espresso. Correct. I say espresso, as does most of America, but you are correct. Well done, New Hampshire.
Mischievous.
Mischievous.
Nope.
No. Mischievous. Mischievous. So you and the rest of America need to work on your grammar on that one.
So anybody who's ever read Curious George, okay?
Right. Curious George. It's right. If you read Curious George, you say mischievous, but it's mischievous. Indeed. All right, one last one here, Chicago.
Hyperbole.
Hyperbole. She is correct. Smart crew out here. And last but not least, what?
Sandra.
It's Sandra.
Very good.
No, incorrect.
It's wrong.
I like that guy.
It is Sandra.
You gotta
Sandra,
work on
we're
your
so
own name.
glad to have you on the couch this morning.
Unbelievable.
You're doing a wonderful job, Sandra.
You know what I think it is? It's the
Clayton, will you take it from here? I think you can take it.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Our wonderful folks. Thank you.
It's probably the Chicago in you that.
Sandra.
And I was pronouncing my last name incorrectly for so many years. My dad's from Baltimore. I'm from Philly. So I would always say Clayton Morris.
Have you ever...
And people are like, what is it? Is it M-A-R-R? I'm like, no, it's M-O. They're like, oh, Morris?
Have you ever seen Grease? Is it Sandra D? No, it's Sandra D. All right. All right.
Thanks, Sandra.
Let's get to the news. The photo is heartbreaking. A couple married for more than 60 years are forced apart, and they blame government health care.
Plus, a college professor tells students Trump is just like Voldemort from Harry Potter. Will that be on the test? Pop quiz.
Let's go, hashtag. There's some cheerleaders doing a little performance for us on our posture. All right, and out on our plaza this morning, we've got Cracker Barrel along with Operation Homefront. And they are cooking up some good stuff out there. It is really a Cracker Barrel restaurant has been set up on our plaza. We'll go out to Clayton and Pete in just a moment, but first we're going to get to some of your headlines this morning. Maine Governor Paul LePage is defending himself against racist claims, all while challenging his rival to a duel. Listen to this voicemail he left for a state lawmaker.
I want you to prove that I'm a racist. I've spent my life helping black people, and you little son of a... I want you to record this and make it public because I'm after you. Thank you.
The lawmaker says he never called LePage racist, but says his comments were racially charged after he said 90% of known drug dealers in Maine are black or Hispanic.
I have been accused by the NAACP of saying that the black people can kiss my butt. That was falsely reported in the newspapers. I told the reporter to kiss my butt because I wouldn't answer such a stupid question.
He has apologized for the voicemail, but justified his reaction, saying being labeled a racist is the most vile thing you can call a person. Questions still lingering over how a crucial 8 minutes of video from a State Department briefing was edited and deleted. This even as we learned the State Department actually conducted not one but two probes into the cover-up of secret talks between the U.S. and Iran. Details of this second investigation, led by its top internal auditor, coming just a week after the department announced they couldn't determine if that portion of the tape was deleted on purpose. And a heartbreaking picture capturing the attention of the internet. An elderly couple weeping as they say goodbye. The two have been living apart for 8 months now, following 62 years of marriage, all because of a backlog in Canada's socialist healthcare system, making it impossible for them to stay at the same care facility. Their granddaughter hoping that sharing their story will spark change for the broken system that is failing her parents. A bizarre interruption. You're looking at it during a minor league baseball game. A sheep going rogue, breaking from the herd, forcing play to be stopped.
Well, under the category of this is something you don't see every day. They got him.
They've got him, and they're gonna.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fight to the finish here.
Looks like they had to send 6 men out there to get that sheep to come inside. The sheep was part of a rodeo promotion that got loose during the 6th inning. All right, and those are your headlines. Now it's time to go out and see what's going on the plaza. Janice.
Hi, Sandra. I want to see you come out here and eat some food and rock in the rocking chairs.
Save me some Coca-Cola cake.
Okay, I definitely will. How are you? What's your name?
My name is Morgan Humphreys. I'm from Chesterfield, Virginia.
And Morgan, who is your fine friend here?
I'm Billy. I'm Morgan's husband.
Nice to meet you. And I heard that you just decided to wake up and come to see Fox and Friends.
We did. We just got here last night around midnight, and this was our first stop.
And how did you get in here?
Well, we just decided to sneak in the back door, I guess.
Sneak in the back door. How do you like it so far? It looks good, right?
We love it.
And you're a teacher?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a teacher.
Oh, God love you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having
Let's do a little, how's the weather here in New York City?
It's a perfect day. This is our first time, and we've just been so lucky.
Oh, well, thank you for being here on Fox and Friends Weekend. 75 in New York City, current temperatures. It is gorgeous. 64 in Minneapolis, 73 in Dallas, 50 in Denver. A little cool there. We do have an upper level low across the Great Lakes that could bring some strong to severe storms, and we are also watching the tropics. Nothing to get really scared about right now, but it is that season. We watch this area of low pressure that could develop in the Gulf of Mexico over the next couple of days. Again, nothing to be too concerned with, but we're just going to monitor it. All right. Have you tried the chocolate cake?
Not yet, but we definitely will before we leave.
Very nice. And you like the rocking chairs, right? They say I'm off my rocker. Oh, Clayton and Pete, over to you. I hear you're cooking something.
Yeah,
we said that 2 years ago.
Indeed.
Janice has lost her rocker.
Not always, but sometimes, yes. No, so are you ready for some football? I know I am. My
Yes.
Vikings have a brand new stadium. We want to be tailgating. Preseason is officially here, and you got to get out and grill and tailgate.
And it won't help your Vikings, but it can help us. Here were some ideas to help kick off our menu, our tailgating menu this morning. Celebrity Chef Durant.
Hey. You arrived in style. That's right. Well, when I go tailgating, I like to come in style, and I bring my own cheerleading squad. These guys are 10 times national champion, Hofstra University cheerleading squad. They're amazing.
Congratulations.
But
This
the
looks
food,
like national championship.
very simple. It's J, but you pronounce it Jarlsberg. A nice, mild, nutty, very meltability. Give that a little flavor there, and you'll get to taste that.
Now you're making a grilled cheese bacon kebab.
Yeah. So what I do is pretty much take a piece of the Jarlsberg cheese and I wrap the bacon just around like that.
It has a Swiss kind of taste,
right?
Right?
It does, yeah, a little bit of Swiss, very mild.
Cheese bacon wrap.
What's going to here you go.
Really?
So the bacon and the saltiness and the ooey gooiness, and the beauty of Jarlsberg cheese is that
You guys
because
eat these?
they're going to be right after that. They need a little to be light so they can fly up in the air. Now the beauty of that is that also you can stuff it in burgers too. And so what I do is I cut a piece like this of the Jarlsberg cheese. I freeze it. That's my secret. I freeze it, and then I put it inside the ground meat.
That cheese is delicious.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it's good.
And then when I make it inside on the grill, what you're going to do is gooey. I'm just going to cut it right here on the grill. You're not supposed to do this,
Look at that.
but I'm going to do that because look at this beauty right up here.
Holy smokes.
Ooey, gooey,
So
cheesy.
the freeze it keeps it from melting too soon. Is that
That's
what it is?
exactly
bring it
right.
out to the
So
game,
you
put it
have,
there.
you still have a nice ooey gooey cheese right there on that burger. That's what you want when you bite into it.
It's like a hot pocket of goodness.
But that's in the burger. Can you imagine what that's going to taste like when you bite into it?
No, I will be imagining that in about 30 seconds.
All right.
How about these grilled meatloaf bites?
Yeah, this is what I like a lot. Tons of it.
Right.
Or if you have a special recipe, what I like to do is grab a meatloaf, I cut it into cubes, and then what you're going to do is quickly just go ahead and put some ketchup on that. And by the way, it does have a bite. See, I made my own ketchup mix over here. By the way, French's, who is the #1 mustard company, they have now a non-high fructose corn syrup ketchup in there. No mustard in there, just ketchup. Just ketchup and a little bit of this sriracha sauce in there too. So because they have this non-high fructose corn syrup, you're going to have a better quality ketchup. Whisk that in there. The cubes of the... There you go. Those go right in there. Those cubes that I cut up. And all you do... Yeah, right. Just miss it. The ketchup in there.
Thank you,
and
Chef.
it works out just... Oh, that's it. Oh, and he's taking my cheerleaders.
More recipes.
Go to georgeduran.com and you'll find everything right over there.
This is the next step of tailgating.
Can I take a
100%.
Jarlsberg cheese wheel home with me?
You know what? This is all
Yeah, take some more bacon.
You know what? I'll give you a wedge. These guys come in wedges. How about that? Give it a bite. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
Jarlsberg comes in wedges like that. There you go. You want to take a bite there? Give it a nice big bite. There you go. That's it. That's the way to do it.
Way too much fun. Pete Hegseth was so hungry he ran out to the plaza for this segment. All right, thanks guys. Well, the race for president getting ugly as both candidates hit the airwaves trying to label their opponent a bigot.
The reason a lot of Klan members like Donald Trump is because a lot of what he believes, we believe in. Donald Trump would be best for the job.
For president?
Yeah.
So does going negative really work, or could it backfire? That's next. And her dad made her promise no boys in the car. So what happens when dad finds out she broke the golden rule? That is so.
But I want to say one thing.
We turned over everything.
I want you to listen to me.
I did not.
I did not.
I did not send classified material.
Not a single time.
And I did not receive.
Never.
Any material that was marked or designated classified.
I never told anybody to lie.
That's all I could say.
These allegations are false.
I don't know how it works digitally at all. I do not.
Rebuilding America Now PAC is responsible for the content of this message.
All right, good morning and welcome back. Some quick headlines for you on this Saturday morning. An Ivy League professor now teaching his students that Donald Trump is just like Voldemort, the villain from Harry Potter.
I'm going to kill you, Harry Potter. I'm going to destroy you.
In an academic journal titled Harry and the Deathly Donald, the UPenn political professor suggests that Trump's proposed ban on Muslim immigration is similar to Voldemort's desire to eradicate mixed blood wizards. Clinton tweeted out this picture of Bill. People on Twitter went going wild over this, writing, "Is Bill in the doghouse again?" While others simply used this as an opportunity to relive this moment. Okay, Clayton, over to you.
How do you top that? Well, negative political ads used to look like this. Are we going to see her barking again?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
These are the stakes. In which direction would John Kerry lead? Kerry voted for the Iraq War, opposed it, supported it, and now opposes it again. John Kerry, whichever way the wind blows.
But Hillary Clinton's new ad reaches potentially a new low. Watch.
The reason a lot of Klan members like Donald Trump is because a lot of what he believes, we believe in. Donald Trump would be best for the job.
For president?
Yeah.
So how will this new strategy play out? Joining me now with his thoughts is veteran campaign strategist and founder of the strategy group company is Rex this morning. Nice to see you this morning, Rex. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Clayton. It's good to be with you.
All right. So you're talking about a real shift, I think, in the way that we've seen political ads over the years. Talking about character instead of judgment. Is that the new normal for campaign ads?
I don't know that it's the new normal for campaign ads. It appears to be the new normal for presidential campaign ads from the Clinton campaign. And, you know, clearly messages that take words and things out of context, you can see. I believe for an ad to be long-lasting and beneficial, it needs to be the truth, it needs to be believable, and it needs to be credible. I'm not sure the ad you just saw passes that test.
Okay. Well, I have an ad here. It's a new Trump ad on Clinton's super predator comments from 1994. Let's watch this. I want to get your response. Watch.
They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel.
You called out President Clinton for defending Secretary Clinton's use of the term super predator back in the 90s when she supported the crime bill. Why did you call him out?
Because it was a racist term and everybody knew it was a racist term.
No conscience. It's a very well thought out crime bill that is both smart and tough. No empathy.
You're trespassing.
Please explain the record.
Because it was a racist term and everybody knew it was a racist term.
Will that work?
You know, first of all, I think there's probably a better way to execute it into providing a little bit of clarity. There's, you know, obviously some confusion, and you have a lot of things going on there. And oftentimes, the best way to do something is to be laser beam focused and very simple, and clearly using a person's word, their own words against them, is always highly effective.
So let's look at some past campaign strategies. And do you think that Hillary Clinton's strategy of going after the character is actually going to work? If we look at historical context here, how will that play out?
Well, I think, first of all, people hearing these ads are already at the point that they've heard enough, and we really, until Donald Trump is on the air at reasonable parity, are we going to really see the difference between the two messages in contrast with one another. So at this point, you know, I think if we continue down this road, you may have a very low turnout, because people are having to choose, I guess, between what they're saying, the lesser of two evils, and that's really not what we want. It's, you know, somebody who's going to be positive and future-oriented, and you know, as Donald Trump has called out and spoken for the people who feel like they haven't had a spokesman in Washington, and they're angry at the political ruling class, and we certainly know that Hillary Clinton is a part of that.
Well, thank you so much, Rex. We appreciate you joining us this morning. We're going to see a boatload of these ads before Election Day. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Going up here on the show, as Hillary goes after Trump's ties to the KKK, one of their supporters just endorsed her. So how will they respond? Geraldo Rivera is here to react at the top of the hour. You don't want to miss that. And this military family just got a new mortgage-free home, all thanks to Operation Home Fund. Find out how you can help them and the rest of our heroes. That is next.
Let me come home.